Hello, everyone, and welcome to the season 7 premiere of The Breakthrough Show. I'm Jessica Dugas, and I'm really excited to have a fabulous guest on today's show. So, without further ado, let's get right into it because it's a great day for a breakthrough. Here we go. Hello, everyone, and welcome to, as I said, the season 7 premiere of The Breakthrough Show. So excited to be back with you today. I'm your host, Jessica Dugas, and today we are exploring a topic that touches many, yet is so often shrouded in silence, and that is the fear of loneliness. In our journey through life, finding connection, understanding, and overcoming our deepest fears is one of the most profound breakthroughs we can experience. Joining us today is an incredibly special guest, an intuitive healer, a psychic, whose light guided many through the business world and now into more spiritual spaces. Tawana's story is one of courage, transformation, and the power of facing one's fears head on. Today, she shares her personal journey of confronting the fear of loneliness and how it shaped her path to healing and helping others. So grab your coffee, your water, your juice, whatever you're drinking today, settle in, and let's dive deep into this heartfelt discussion. It's time for some pretty big breakthroughs. Here we go. Tywanah Evette, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. I am so excited to have you here today. And I was sharing with some folks behind the scenes that, you know, I had several episodes planned out for the season, but not the premiere. And I was just, I don't know what in the hell I was waiting for. You ever sit there and you wait and you're like, what am I waiting for? I'm not really sure. But you were what I was waiting for. So I'm very excited that you are our premiere guest today.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm so humbled and honored to be here. So very humbled and honored.
Absolutely. And we were introduced by a Breakthrough Network alumni, Miss Tina C. Hines.
Yes.
Which we know and love.
Yes. Yes.
We know and love around here. I want to start out with something. Well, it's deep, but it's a little bit on a lighter note. When you hear that word breakthrough, what does that mean to you?
For me, it means that I can come out of the dark night of the soul. I can step out of the darkness. I'm starting to see light. It's huge. The word breakthrough is huge as it applies to my life and my healing journey. So it's everything, honestly. It's everything. When you're in that dark space, being able to break through, that's what you need. You know what I mean? That's what you need. So it's huge for me. Huge word.
Yeah, I love it. We have some very amazing people joining us in the audience today. Miss Brittany's here with Sacred Indian Secrets. Good to see you, Miss Brittany. Teresa's here. I know you know Teresa as well. Teresa's like, I love me some Tawana, some Tina, and some Jessica. So that's what we're at today.
I love all of you.
Love it. And you look radiant. And I agree. I was like, listen, she's all in the breakthrough purple today. That's what we're doing. I love it.
Yes, we are.
I love it. Yes, we need that breakthrough. Absolutely.
Yes, absolutely.
It's and I know, we talk about specific moments on this show that have changed us. We kind of try to rein it in, narrow it down a little bit, but we know that it's kind of like a roller coaster, right? Of of ebb and flow of the
Exactly.
breakthrough moments that
Definitely
happen. Have
not
you found
linear.
that for you as well?
Yeah, I've found that it seems like as soon as you get to where you think you can breathe, spirit decides, okay, you're ready for the next one, you know?
Yeah.
So just just being able to come out, just being able to come out of darkness. Um, this is beautiful. This is beautiful. Um, to have been afraid my entire life of this very moment and to face it with a smile every day. Huge. Absolutely huge.
I love it. I love it. And now your history is really interesting. When I was reading over your bio and everything, like you've worked in the White House, girl.
Yes, I did. Yes, I
How the
did.
hell did you go from that because that's, when I think about spirituality and places of spiritual awakening, I don't think of the White House. So will you
Um,
please tell me what happened there?
it was before I accepted
Mm,
my gifts. I knew they were there. They were active. I was married to someone at the time who was very deep in the church, so you know, I wasn't able to attune to things as I do now. Now my energy guides me, whereas then it was a different set of rules and regulations. So, but in looking back in hindsight, I used my intuition a lot.
mm,
I used it a lot in the corporate world. So it was an everyday thing, just guiding people. I could tell something was off with one of the appointees before I even got to the office.
mm.
I just picked up on it. Something's not right. He's in a mood. He's in a mood.
I'm gonna guess that happens often there, and now I'm gonna digress from that topic. Absolutely. Miss Nina's joining us out in the audience as well, saying you look absolutely amazing. I love it. So happy that you're here. Um, Brittany was saying it feels like you can finally breathe when
Yes.
you've had that moment,
Yes.
right? You
You
breathing
literally
easier these
holding your
days?
breath the whole time. You don't realize you're holding your breath the whole time, but you are the whole time. And yes, you can breathe easier. And like I said, for me, image is huge because I'm psychic. I see things in my mind, and for me, it was just like being in this tunnel and moving slowly with a blindfold. I can tell there's a light, but I can't see anything. And what was funny was the blindfold came off after I talked to you.
Mm. I didn't know
So
that.
I can now see my next piece of the journey.
Well,
And
I mean, listen, I could see it loud. Your energy speaks for you. You don't even have to say anything. And I knew that we were going to be best friends and we were going to do this show. Well,
Aquarius.
yes, we're both Aquarius. Okay, so there's that. Where's my little bell? We're both Aquarius and that's happening. So I love it. I love it so much. And I'm excited to dig a little bit into your story today because I think first of all, facing your fears is a breakthrough in itself.
Mhm.
Every fear that we make the decision to face, sometimes forcefully into that space is challenging, but also the topic of loneliness. It's a challenge, and we're gonna dig really, really deep into this today, you guys, hearing more about Tywanah's story and also just talking about loneliness in general, because I think it's a brushed under the rug topic, especially in the spiritual community. So
Mhm.
we'll be right back after this break, and we're gonna dig in super deep with more breakthroughs with Tywanah. Be back in just a moment.
Breakthroughs are about more than you might think. They're about discovering who you are, digging deep, reaching to the core of your soul. They're about healing yourself, understanding your beliefs, creating a ripple effect. And it's not just those initial moments that matter. It's about using them to bring more joy into our own lives and the lives of others. It's about having fun, letting loose, enjoying every moment life has to offer. It's about finding a safe space. It's about creating connection. Join us each and every day for exclusive programming, special events, and a community to call home, where we invite you to explore, change the way you look at and live your life, and go beyond the breakthrough. So we ask you, are you ready? We'll see you online at thebreakthroughshow.com.
Welcome back to the season 7 premiere of The Breakthrough Show. I'm here with the amazing, gorgeous, whose energy is glowing, Tywanah Evette, we're talking about facing loneliness. Now, I know that when we were talking, there were so many different topics that we could have covered here today, because like we said, our journey is kind of this ebb and flow of things that happen. Why was loneliness in particular important for you to talk about today?
It's something that people in, like you said, the spiritual community don't discuss. And it pushed me toward healing more. So I also think that people in my age group have some things that we need to acknowledge, which is, some of the cause of some of the loneliness.
Right.
So it was just really important to talk about it today because, of course, when you're going through awakenings and things like that, it's lonely. People around you don't understand. Even if you have someone in the house, they're like, why are you sick? What's wrong with you? What do you mean you don't have any energy? So that's why it was important to discuss. It's not talked about enough.
Yeah, I agree. Why do you think that the spiritual community in general kind of like is more quiet about loneliness? Or I will tell you from my experience, there has been anytime I brought up the topic of loneliness within the spiritual community, there's this sort of, well, your job is to be happy with yourself. And then period, end of story. Like, and I kind of fight back on that a little bit because I'm like, aren't we supposed to in this human life have human other interactions with people?
I think that we do need to be happy with self, which is something that I never learned to do. I had children in high school, so I never learned how to be happy with self. And we do need to learn that. However, I think it's even more important in the spiritual community that we have people around us that understand so that we don't go into those spaces alone.
Yeah, especially during breakthrough moments when we're crying and rocking in the corner, those spiritual awakening moments when you're like, what is happening to me? Am I dying? Am I dying right now?
Exactly. That's what it feels like.
Exactly.
So it's important to talk about it. It's important. Yes, we need to be happy about ourselves as spiritual beings. Our walk is very, very individual. We all have our spirit teams. We all have our gifts. We all have our callings. However, we understand each other. We get each other. So we shouldn't be lonely, but we are. A lot of us.
I love what you're saying because it's be happy with ourselves and not one or the other, not one's more important. It's a collective experience. I feel like this wonderful human life. I want you to take us back, Tywanah, to that period of time before you sort of had this breakthrough in facing loneliness in your life.
Well, when you said, we face loneliness by choice or sometimes we're forced, I was forced. When I moved here back to DC, I had moved in with my sister, to help her, to help me. It was a mutual thing. And my children and I were not in a good space. And I made a lot of judgment calls that I shouldn't have. And they've requested space. So they were kind of ripped out of my life, all of a sudden. And I had to learn, as someone who didn't know how to survive without their children, I had to sit down in that rocking, crying space and say, you know what? I'm going to finish because they're worth it. I'm going to finish because I'm worth it. I'm going to finish because my grandchildren are worth it. And every generation behind them is worth it. So I'll take the lonely. I'll take the alone time. I'll take whatever it is I need to do. Because at the end of the day, when I close my eyes, my children will know I did this. I healed this generational trauma. I sat in the mess and I did it. And I'm learning myself. I'm not lonely. I have fun by myself. I get up and play music and dance. That's awesome. Like, have my own little dance contest. There's no one to judge me. I am a DIY aholic, so I'm always finding something to wallpaper, something to refinish, something to redo. My creativity has returned in that lonely space. Mm-hmm. In that loneliness, I found my creativity. Mm-hmm. I learned my ancestral team. I have an incredible relationship with them. They got me through. Mm-hmm. They got me through. They were here on those nights when I'm rocking. They were here. So I'm never alone. They're always with me. Yeah. Yeah. And once I realized that, and I started looking for things to make me happy, the lonely was gone.
What do you think it is that you were afraid of in regard to loneliness?
Healing. I have so much childhood trauma that it is insane. And I was afraid of healing. Those nights on the floor, those nights in the tub, those days where you can't even walk outside because you just don't have it in you. I was afraid of it, but I faced it head on. Yeah. My childhood trauma, I can talk about it now and laugh.
Because isn't it easier sometimes for us to sit in the known, even if it's painful?
Yes.
Even if we outgrew that space 10 years ago, mm-hmm. It's easier for us to sit in that space of the known because we're comfortable. We got a nice fluffy pillow here. It's great and wonderful.
Exactly.
And we put up with a lot of crap in that space just because we're comfortable.
Yeah. Yes. Let's just say this podcast is quite the shock to my family, and they know that my throat chakra is open and I no longer care. My story is old. My story
it's done, boys and girls.
But yes. It's easier to stay in those spaces because that's what we know. That's what we're raised with. That's what we're comfortable with. We're not taught. A lot of us are not taught when we're young to heal. Get up, brush it off. On to the next. Stuff it down. On to the next. Stuff the feelings down. On to the next. Yeah. That's not life. And then you get to I will be 49 next week. You get into your 40s and you have to do this. Mm-hmm. It's insane. But you know what? Wouldn't trade it for the world. Yeah. I would not trade the way that I feel today. Standing on my own. I can't say my kids got me through it. I can't say my sister got me through it. I can't say anyone got me through it but me. But me. Yeah. And of course, my ancestors who are over there. What about us?
They're off to the side in the cheering section today. They're in the VIP seats.
Yep, that's my Nana and my Papa. I didn't know you could see their photos. Yeah. So, yeah, it's not so bad when you face it. And I think people are afraid of the lonely because of the thoughts that come with the lonely. You have to deal with you. Yeah. There's no one to blame.
Right. It's that I think sometimes that silence is something that people get afraid of in loneliness, the quiet. Because like you said, you're kind of forced into healing and visiting and releasing and all of these things that are hard for us to do or more challenging. And do you think when you are in that space of silence now, how do you approach it now that's different than what you may have done, 10 years ago?
I love silence now. I have not turned on either of my televisions in 3 months. I will sit here. I have a weird sleep schedule because of them. They kind of wake me up at 10 at night, and then I'm up through the night receiving messages and downloads and things. So
I know about something about that, but I'll
how do you? But I love silence now because I love myself. Once you love yourself, silence is no longer deafening.
Yeah.
I embrace it. I can think. I can calm my mind. I can quiet. I can get this to shut up.
Yeah.
I love silence now.
Brittany was saying, I can agree. My loneliness caused many things, especially for my creativity. She really felt that
Really?
increase in
Wow.
creativity. And I think it can, we can be inspired by other people, but sometimes we do have to go within and find those things that light us up, that and learn to love ourselves. Like, how much is that self-love and self-gratitude and self-appreciation, how much does that tie into your being okay with loneliness now?
100%. 100%. Because I love me, I'm okay with being with just me. I'm okay with that. I love my good and my bad. There was a time I would look at my body and hate it. I love it. It once you truly, fully love and accept your good, your bad, your ugly, everything in between, once you own everything you've ever done, you're not lonely. Because either A, you're receiving your downloads, you're in your quiet time or whatever, or B, your gifts are coming in. What you love to do is coming back because you don't have all that chatter in your head anymore. So those things that have been buried deep down inside of you now have space to come forward. I didn't know I could wallpaper my whole place. I didn't, me? I did a whole living wall in my dining room. Me? It's like, what do you mean? So it breeds other things, but they're good things. They're beautiful things. You find you. In that loneliness, you find yourself, who you are at your core.
Right.
And I think it's amazing. There's nothing about me I don't love. Nothing.
I love
and
that.
I could not say that 6 months ago. Definitely couldn't say it a year ago. And it's all due to the lonely. So
Do you
it
ever
doesn't
have
a bad thing.
Yeah, right. Do you ever have those things pop up for you at all now where you might start to feel like, I don't know if I like that or this part of me? And how do you sort, or if they're not coming up, how do you plan on dealing with those feelings when they do come up? Because we are human. Like, we have those little things about ourselves. We're like, Jessica, really? This is what we're doing. Tywanah, what's going on here?
My OCD.
How do you navigate those waters when they present themselves?
So number one, since she's on here, Nina checks me. She checks me quite quickly. But yes, ancestors will check me. I'm sorry, the balloons. She's funny. But she'll check me. Tina, you already know. She'll check me. But when I'm alone, they'll check me. That's not a thought. That's an old thought. And In healing, I think something that we don't acknowledge, in healing the lonely, we have to say goodbye to our old self. So I literally, my spirit team had me do an entire ritual to say goodbye to her because she got me this far. She was strong. She was brave. She got me this far. She's the one who was lonely. She's the one who didn't feel good enough. She's the one who felt like someone always had to be around because she wasn't enough herself. We said goodbye to her. She's gone. So it's not scary anymore. And even when there'll be another wave of darkness, even when that comes up, I check myself. Even in crying, I'll be like, change the thought. You know, it would be nice to have people around sometimes, but then, you know, you go outside and people are people.
Yes.
And energy, no.
Yeah.
If people, you know, you have to be careful when you're in this space of the energy that's around you. And that, I think that adds to the loneliness. I think that does, because in a sense, people in this space, spiritual people, psychics, we are, especially those of us who have just accepted and announced, and this is my thing, this is my calling, I'm going to do it. We are so afraid because we've had so many bad experiences with not acknowledging when those energies were around, you know?
Yes.
It's kind of a fear to get to know people new,
Right.
if I'm making sense.
Right. Absolutely. And I think too, sometimes I can resonate with being around people who don't understand, who I don't even want to say don't understand, but don't even attempt to understand, like don't put that effort in to like meet you where you are at all. And that sometimes can be more lonely than actually being alone with no one around. Like,
Exactly.
you know, and that's tough.
It is. I have felt more lonely at family functions. I have two sets of siblings, my mom's side and my dad's side. And the mom's side, I always felt lonely. There'd be 60, 70 people in the room. Never felt seen, ever. So you can be in a room full of people. You can be in a relationship. You can have kids in the house. All of these things can happen and you can still feel lonely. And I think part of that, again, goes back to the healing and the self-love and needing to be seen and heard.
Right. Teresa was saying it's hard to speak of loneliness and some emotions because so many of them are considered low vibration and we're expected to bypass them. But it's
That's a great point, Teresa.
Yeah.
That's huge.
Yeah.
And
And
that's
I get that completely, like the, you know, certain things being more low vibration, but I think it's the decision to sit in it and stay there that's the low vibration.
exactly. It's not, we have to flow, transmute energy. Everything is energy. So when those feelings, those emotions, those thoughts, those words or whatever comes up, we have the ability to make the decision to say, I'm going to sit here and stew in this, or I am going to get through it, move this energy, whatever it is that I need to do to move this energy and transmute it and release it.
Right.
We have, you know, that's in our power.
Yeah, I think when we embrace that power, that doesn't, we can still be of a high vibration by talking through those things that are considered more low vibration, but that's not, I've never really subscribed to that somehow talking about it brings us there automatically. It's the decision to sit in it and stew in it, and that's what I can't do. I can't sit there for a long time. Like, okay, I'm gonna have my tantrum. And now I'm okay, moving on.
Exactly. I'm going to move this in. I always tell Nina, I just need to move this energy. I just have to move this energy.
Right. She said, right, there's no greater loneliness than when you're around those you love, but they don't see or hear you.
Yeah.
How do you in those relationships now, how do you sort of navigate that, if you will, like of do you feel like you have to cut people off, or do you just sort of like does your relationship just change?
So, I have cut off most of my family. Um, and that was basically because to remain in a relationship with them, I would have had to stay silent. Um, and then some family, I have just told them, if you cannot respect me, if you can't be respectful towards me, then you don't need to be around me. I'm not asking you to like me. I'm not asking you to accept what I do or anything like that. I'm just asking for respect. And if you can't do that, gotta go. So that's how I've handled things. I used to be the person who had all the family, all the friends. Everybody had to be around me. Phone's ringing all the time. Phone barely rings now. Text barely ring. And I love it. I love it because I had so many fake people around me
Mm,
just to say I had friends.
yeah. Yeah.
Mm-mm, no. And my energy is very precious now.
Mm.
Very, very precious. So,
You talked about space before, about within the loneliness, there's now this space to connect to different things and all of that. And one of the realizations that I had fairly recently, because I've been sort of in this interesting space evaluating friendships and relationships and things like that, which I swear to you is like got to be some sort of Aquarian lot in life to evaluate relationships. But
I think so.
in this space of evaluation, I realized I'm like, I have spent so much of my life chasing and going, well, why don't they like me? And why don't they want to spend time with me? And why don't they understand? And why don't they care? And
Oh
all
my
of that.
God, you get it. You
It,
get it.
and then what I realized recently was if I take the amount of time that I'm spending on the chase and spend it on the people that do get it and
Hmm.
do care and do show up, well, shit.
Exactly. It takes care of itself.
Yeah. You don't
I
have time for
spent
the bullshit anymore.
my whole life. Why doesn't somebody like me? Why don't they want to be around me? Why?
Yes.
What's wrong with me? What's wrong with me? Nothing's wrong with me. They shouldn't have been around me in the first place. They
Mm.
weren't good people.
Mhm.
They were not good people.
Mhm.
But, we live and we learn.
Yeah.
And now I am very, very cautious when approaching friendships.
Mm.
Very cautious. My
Yeah.
my first thing is, what do you want from me?
Mm.
And not put in that, in those terms, but basically someone new coming into my life. I want to know, what is it that you want? Because, you know, we're not going into those spaces anymore. We're
Right.
only staying where we're respected and appreciated. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah. Have you found yourself at all having those kinds of conversations with the people that are in your life of maybe not necessarily, hey, what do you want from me, but uh, but like maybe having those discussions of like, what do we expect from each other? What is our expectation of this relationship or our friendship? Have you had those at all?
I actually did, with my sister who lives few miles away, the one I was living with, because I love her. She's really always tried to be there for me, as much as she possibly could. Only being 8 years my senior.
Yeah.
Um, we had a discussion about how can this move forward.
Mhm.
What are your expectations? What are my expectations? How does this flow? We had that conversation. It was tough. It was tough. But it was necessary. It shouldn't have had to transpire, but it was
Mhm.
necessary. And now, even though she seems a little squirmish approaching me,
Mhm.
like she doesn't know how anymore. I just tell her, you can call, you can text. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not some tyrant. You can call, you can text. I still want to see you. I still want you in my life, which is why we had the conversation. Everybody else is cut. So, yeah, we've had that very adult conversation. And I have those conversations with my friends now where we know what we expect from each other. We know what one can give, the other one,
Right.
And that's it. I no longer have people in my life that are not able to have an even exchange of energy. And that's not to say if I'm great at cooking and you're sick and I bring over meals, I want you to bring meals when
Right.
I'm sick. It's saying that when I'm sick, can you text me? Can you call me? You know what I mean? Just
Yeah.
an even exchange.
Yes.
Doesn't have to be in kind.
Yeah. And I think that's where people are mistaken sometimes when we talk about there needing to be some kind of reciprocal nature to relationships. It doesn't have to be exact for exact thing. It's a willingness to exchange some type of energy on a regular,
Exactly.
on a
Exactly.
regular basis. Because to me, that says you care. And this all ties in so beautifully to the documentary that I'm working on about friendship right now, because um, these conversations don't happen enough. And I'm only halfway through my interviews and have determined this already. We don't talk about this enough with
Mm-mm.
our friends. Hey, this is what I'm capable of giving. This is what I need from you. Where can we meet in the middle where these things are concerned?
Exactly. Perfect. Yes. Yes. We do not have those conversations enough. We enter friendships wrong.
Mm.
We enter friendships. A lot of us are bonded through in-kind trauma.
Mm. Yes.
Probably 85% of the friendships that I had were bonded over in-kind trauma. That's not a way to establish friendships. I don't
And
think.
then what happens when you work through those traumas? Now
In
what?
my experience, it was I worked through the traumas
Yes.
and my best friend wouldn't. So now I'm here and you're back here and you're not willing to even come here,
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not going back. If I'm not
Right.
willing to go back,
Which, to be fair, that's their journey. That's their, if that's where they need to be at, that's fine. But that
Mhm.
doesn't mean that we're gonna be on the same path
No.
now. And that's where it gets challenging for me, because I think like I talked about before, when we get real comfortable, we're hanging on that old blanket is falling apart and we're still hanging on to it like it's still keeping us warm. Absolutely not.
Exactly.
Doing it.
Exactly. So, yeah, these are conversations that we really need to begin having with each other as adults, and it will then turn into conversations that young people can have with each other, because a lot of them are bonded through in-kind trauma as well. So this would be their future,
Yeah. I always hope that we're looking back, on that some people are watching back on these episodes of the Breakthrough Show and learning things before they're in their 40s.
I hope so too.
Please learn from our mistakes.
Exactly. I wish I had done it 30 years ago. Please learn.
I know it. Well, as you mentioned, I know that you are never alone because you have your spirit team with you, and I want to talk a little bit about that after a quick break. Your spirit team, and also what you have that you're working on now, and how people can connect with you and all of that. So we are going to listen to the For Love poem by the amazing Dorothy Auger. We'll be right back after this.
I shall stand for love, even with a broken soul, even with a heavy heart. I shall stand for love, for the world is wounded, not just my little piece of land, where I am mostly safe, where I am mostly well, but our world, everywhere, every day. I shall stand for love, because we need more light, not more death, not more power, not more bombs. I shall stand for love, so that our children are safe, so that our friends are sheltered, so that our borders are open. I shall stand for love, even with a broken soul, even with a heavy heart.
Welcome back to the season 7 premiere of The Breakthrough Show. Isn't that beautiful? Isn't that beautiful? That poem is the For Love poem written by Dorothy Auger, who unfortunately passed 2 Octobers ago now. Blows my mind still how time has gone. But if you would like to record a version of her For Love poem, please feel free to reach out, Jessica at thebreakthroughshow.com, and we can get that recorded and added to her legacy of poems. So Tywanah, I've just loved our conversation today. Like sitting down with my old Aquarius friend here, talking about all of the things. And you mentioned, part of coming through the other side of loneliness is that you have been able to connect in a new way with yourself and with the universe in spirituality, in spiritually.
Yes.
And your spirit guides are there. Your team is with you. Tell me just briefly how did that come about, that you sort of realized, oh, there's beings here.
Well, my mom, who passed 25 years ago, she has always been with me. Anytime anything happens, we could smell her. My mother was a very heavy cigarette smoker, so we would smell cigarette smoke. So she's always been around, but her presence got so much stronger once I moved out of my sister's house. Her presence was so strong, it scared me. I thought that something was wrong, because typically when her presence is that strong, I'm getting ready to wind up in a hospital.
Mm. And
then my ears would like ring really loud, and I'd start seeing like little flickers and stuff, and so I was just like, Mom, what's going on? Like, just tell me what's going on. Like, am I losing it, Mom? Like, I sat on my couch and said, Mom, am I losing it? And I heard her say, no, you've always had this gift. You knew you had this gift. I had this gift. Your grandmother had this gift. It's time for you to use it.
Mm.
And that's when she told me, my pop-pop's been with me since he passed when I was 2. And my Nana's here, and her mother, and great-grandmother, 4 great-grandmothers down Jerusha.
Mm.
She's the strong one. And then I have a little feisty great-grandmother, a little feisty Irish great-grandmother that likes to stand behind me. She feels like she's short.
Mm.
So it's interesting. I know there are more. My stepdad, he's with me. He I was his boom boom. I was his little girl. And him and my pop pop. When anything happens, they're the first ones gone.
Mm.
They get very upset when people mess me over. Yeah. Very upset. So, yeah, I'm not alone. They're here. I've got spirit animals. Thanks to wonderful Miss Teresa, I know I have my dragon.
We just talked about that this morning. Everybody's got their dragons now.
And I've been trying to connect with them.
Mm.
And I can feel, I did test it one day. I was walking and I had this very uneasy feeling walking past this very tinted car. I just had very uneasy feeling. I almost left and walked the other way. And I just said, dragon, make me invisible. Mm. And those people didn't even look when I walked past. They didn't even look.
God, that's amazing.
I was just like, everybody go before me because I've got to get past this car. Yeah. And they were shady. But yeah, I have my dragon. I've got my husky who used to sleep under my crib, Candy. Mm. She's here. So I've got all types of folks in here. Yeah. I'm never alone.
Have any of them said anything? I mean, other than you're not alone, have they ever said anything to you specifically about this topic of loneliness that you experienced?
That it was necessary. They had to isolate me to bring me through. Mm. If I had any of those voices, any of my children, not negatively speaking, of course, about them. I'm saying if I had been focused on them, if I had been focused on something else, I never would have listened. I had to be still to hear them and to listen and to know it was them and to be able to recognize, who's who and what I'm hearing. So my gifts are, they're coming in full force. Let's just say that. Coming in full force.
Well, I'm glad we're talking about it live on air today and not rocking in a corner somewhere like we do.
Right? Right? No, we're not rocking in a corner. We're very happy.
Yeah.
Very happy. Looking forward to everything that's coming. Looking forward to it. And it's just going to be amazing.
It is. It is. I can tell. I can feel it. I can feel it. Now I got Phil Collins stuck in my head. God. Anyway, I can feel
That's
it.
That's an Aquarius thing. Nina might chime in on that one.
Come on, Nina, break it down.
Nina and I do that when we're on the phone. If one of us says something, the other one will break off into the song of what we just said.
Okay, I'm calling you every now and then now because there's not that many people in my circle that also do that as well. And I cannot get through one show, one conversation. I'm a walking musical.
Same here.
I love it. Yep, we're all best friends now.
We're all best friends.
I love it.
Oh
well, what are you working on in your world right now, Tywanah? I know that everything's coming in like hot and heavy, full force. What are you honing in on for yourself? What are you working on for near future?
I am working on a loneliness journal. So I'm not sure how long that's going to take. I've got half of it done, and it's a journal it's a 52-week journal with prompts to make you really think, if this happened, how would you react? Because it can happen. It can happen in a second. I'll be opening readings probably in May.
Can we have a little confidence to back that up? I'm gonna put you full screen and tell me what you're doing in May.
Readings in May. I read Oracle, I read Tarot, I read Energy. I'm an intuitive healer. I just tap in. And we've got some medicinal things that we're working on too. Yes. I'm a chronic pain patient. So I do use medicinal marijuana, and I'm working on a company to specialize in helping people with chronic pain, cancer. I'm sorry, it just escaped me. Veterans, and it starts with an S. PTSD, but it starts with an S. Not scoliosis. Gosh, I can't remember the name of it, but it affects people. They're in a lot of pain, and they wind up in the hospital in agony over it. So my goal is to, now that I know what works for me with a seizure disorder and a spine injury, and I've done the studies on the terpenes and things, I want to go ahead and start making custom blends for people so people can get out of pain.
I love it. I love it. I'm a big believer. I'm a big believer in all kinds of plant medicine. We eat a plant-based diet in this house. We believe in a lot of that stuff. So I just think plants are magic, no matter which way you look at it. Rhonda was asking, do you think your pain is related to your emotions?
No, my emotions do increase my pain. But I was in a head-on collision 20 years ago, and it knocked 2 discs out of my spine. And when they did the surgery, the bone grew over my hardware. So the bone grew over the titanium and it's sitting on the sciatic nerve. So they can't go back in and fix it. However, when I do not transmute energy, it goes right there. That's the first place it goes.
Yeah.
So it will increase it. That's a really, really good observation. It will increase it exponentially.
Yeah. I agree too that, I mean, and that's such a, I would even love to have you back on eventually, and we'll have that conversation about chronic pain and all of that, because that's been my experience as well. Is there are certain things that are those injury related things that it's like, okay, it's nice to think that we can just like, because listen, if anybody can try real hard to manifest the pain away, it's me. Okay. Because I can get into some kind of like spiritual state over here where I'm not even in this world anymore. But sometimes, but I recognize with the work that I've done, it is so much less. And like you said, when you do go to that space emotionally, spiritually, that's not high vibration, I know right where that pain goes.
Mhm.
L5S1.
That's mine too.
Is it really?
You are kidding me. That's where my injury is.
Wow. Oh my gosh. Listen.
Yeah, that's where mine is. Fused L5S1 and they took out L4.
Lord. I don't even, I can't make this.
No, we can't.
In 7 years, seven years of doing this show, this stuff happens all the time. And every time it blows me away. Every time I sit here surprised. Like, oh, you didn't just bring me this person on accident. What do you mean?
I love it.
Oh my goodness.
God, that's crazy. I'm blown away.
I don't even know. I think we're done. I don't even know what to say anymore. I'm out. Listen, Tywanah, where I've got your links down in the comments for everybody to connect with you as well, but let everybody know where they can find you and best connect with you.
For until my spiritual website is up, for now, Tywanah Evette on Facebook, Tywanah Evette on Instagram, or Ty_Evette on TikTok. And my email is my first name at outlook.com.
Love it.
And then I have there's a website linked on my Facebook page as well. And that one has my schedule where you can schedule time.
Book a call, boys and girls. Book a call. That's all I'm gonna tell you.
Well, wait till May for the readings, okay?
I'm just gonna say that if you want one, get in line. That's all. Oh God, I am so thankful that we got to do this today, Tywanah. You are a breath of fresh air. So much fun. And now we know we were separated at birth.
Yes. Mom, you've got some explaining to do. She said, she's saying, I just help orchestrate in the spirit realm. That's what she said.
Yeah, you know what? Her and my grandmother are probably conjuring up some nonsense.
My mother's always in some mess.
There's that. Tywanah, thank you so much. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you, everyone who came and supported. I appreciate it.
Yes, absolutely. And we will definitely have you back. We'll go down another rabbit hole on another episode. It'll be great.
Sounds fun. Thank you, everyone.
Awesome. All right, you guys, listen, I'm so excited that Tywanah was here today to join us for the show. I have a couple of final thoughts for you. As we bring today's episode to a close, I want to take a moment to reflect on this powerful conversation that we've just shared together. Loneliness, a fear so many of us face, yet when confronted with courage and openness, can lead to the most beautiful transformations. I want to thank our guest today for sharing her light with us, for opening up about her journey and reminding us that in the face of loneliness, there is a world of connection and healing waiting for us. To our viewers today, thank you all so much for joining us. I hope today's episode has inspired you to look within, to embrace your fears and remember that you're never truly alone. The path to breakthroughs is paved with the stories that we share, the vulnerabilities we embrace, and the connections we make along the way. And speaking of stories, you don't want to miss our next episode of the Breakthrough Show next Friday, Behind the Music, with our incredible Breakthrough alum, Ray Coates. He's back to join us, and we'll dive into the stories behind the songs, the power of music to heal, and the inspiration that fuels creativity. It's an episode that promises to move and inspire. So please tune in for that. And fun fact, there's going to be a premiere drop of a song on next week's episode. So tune in for that. Super, super, super excited. Super excited. And remember that every opportunity is an opportunity for a breakthrough. I'm your host, Jessica Dugas, and I will see you guys next week for another episode. Take care, everybody.